Hello everyone, PotatoLegion here. I hope you're doing well. We have a developer update coming this month with some great changes for the Cannibal and the Hill Billy. So let's start off with the Cannibal, who is Bubba. So we'll read this. First, the Cannibal Chainsaw now activates like the Hill Billies. Rather than needing to be fully charged and then released, the small change prevents instances where you release a button too early and cancel your chainsaw accidentally. You won't want to hold it out for too long though, or else Leatherface will go into a tantrum. Bubba's chainsaw now has 3 charges by default. When starting your chainsaw sweep, one of these charges will be consumed. Pressing the power button again while the sweep is active will refresh it and consume another charge, allowing you to continue using the chainsaw for another 2 seconds. You want to assess the situation carefully though. Each charge you will use will extend the tantrum and missed attack cooldown. So using more charges can backfire if you're not able to follow through. Charges refill automatically at a rate of 1 every few seconds. Additionally, the Leatherface maximum movement speed while using his power has been increased from 5.06 I think that's meters second to 5.29 meters per second. This is in conjunction with the other changes mentioned above, will make the Cannibal feel much better to play, as much more threatening to play against. Here's a preview of the changes in action. Alright, let's have a quick look. You can see here he's got charges now that you have to keep clicking. Okay. So you can now rev it, but you overheat. And going to a tantrum, and you also lose all of your charges. Are they just showing it again? Yeah, so they're just repeating themselves, right? I kind of wish they'd just show like how one charge looked. Right, okay, fine. So this is really good for survivors and killers in a sense. So obviously he's getting a massive buff, so when he uses his chainsaw, he doesn't have enough distance and he knows he can't make it, he can cancel it earlier and pursue chase earlier, which is going to allow him to apply a lot more pressure and constantly be on your backside, rather than him missing his full frontal chainsaw, losing so much distance and having to catch up again. So this is really, really good. The fact they've increased his base speed as well is also really good. He'll feel the distance that you're used to will be a lot closer now, further away, sorry, that he can start to use it. So you need to give yourself a lot more distance when going against him. And believe it or not, he cannot camp anymore because he has charges, so he can't even keep his chainsaw revved by a hook at 99 like camping bubbas do and prevent you from getting a hook. Like, he has to either use it or not, and the time he takes to rev it, you could get a borrowed time save easily in time. So that prevents face camping bubbas, and he's getting a nice buff. So this is an absolutely great change. While they're changing some of his add-ons, I've never played Bubba, obviously because he's so broken, but with this update, he's going to be extremely tempting to play. Let's have a look at his new changes to his add-ons. An oil specifically formulated for chainsaws, a special additive prevents oil throw-off. Downing a survivor with the chainsaw while no other survivors are in your tear radius will hide the survivor's auras for 20 seconds. Seems kind of useless. So that's basically a knockout, but it only lasts 20 seconds. If I read that right. Downing a survivor with a chainsaw while no other survivors are in your tear radius will hide it. Yeah, it's basically a knockout for that survivor you've just downed, but only for 20 seconds. I guess that means if you down them and someone comes running in for like a pallet stun or a flashlight save, they don't know where to go. But then survivor friends can prevent this anyway, so I just think that's really pointless and I can't see anyone using that add-on. Alright, depth gauge rake. Tool that increases the angle of the depth gauge, making the chain eat more wood. Okay, increases the number of charges, slightly increases charge time, slightly decreases the change of the sweep maximum speed. So you get an additional, increases the number of charges. It doesn't say how many. I assume it's 1, but the punishment is it'll take you longer to rev your chainsaw, and you lose speed while you're sweeping per charge. So it might be the same distance as 3, but you're getting 4. I don't know why that'd be useful. Really? because it allows you to have more pressure when you're in close quarters against multiple people, but then you're losing that distance to catch up to people. So I don't understand that. Iridescent flesh, a thin slice of smooth young flesh, the veins shimmer with luminescent glow as life still flows within. Hitting survival with a chainsaw replenishes its charges. I mean, when does a Bubba get multiple downs with his chainsaw unless he's face camping? Or it's very unlikely, so this is pointless. Unless you get a hit, it replenishes and you cancel it, and then you've automatically got your charge back, so you haven't got to wait for the cooldown. I think that's the only reason it'd be useful. But again, it's not very good. I don't think his perk changes are good in any way or useful. Alright. Yeah, cool. Looking forward to what we can do. Perk changes. We've reviewed some of Leatherface's perks to make them more appealing. Okay. I thought his perks were pretty standard and done what they meant to do. Your vicious attacks make the survivors drop their item on impact. The lost item will be consumed by the entity after 90 seconds at level 3. If it is not picked up before the timer runs out, reveal the aura of items on the ground within 32 meters. In a white aura, the aura's items fade to red when they're consumed by the entity. So have they removed the 20%, is it 10%? 10 to 20% usage on the item every time you knock it down? Obviously that didn't apply to keys because it doesn't matter, but this is really good for trying to prevent keys, but 90 seconds is such a long time. Even if you down the survivor, hook them, when they're unhooked, they're gonna have enough time to run back to the item unless you solidly defend it. But this gives killers a chance to prevent people with keys, which is actually really good. And if you're not paying attention as well, and someone plunders a key and you smack them, you can see the aura of the key on the floor. And you're like, oh crap, there's a key there, I need to defend it. I think this is actually a good change, but it takes up a perk slot and there are better perks out there. And unless somebody brings a key or you've got 4 flashlights that you really don't want to go against, then it's worth bringing. Otherwise, it's still the same in terms of usage. Alright, knockout. Survivors put into dying state by your basic attacks are not revealed to other survivors when they're standing outside a 32 for 24, 60 meter range. Yeah, that's normal. Survivors put into the dying state by your basic attacks crawl 50% slower for 15 seconds. During this time, survivors are affected by a blindness status effect. Wait, what? Basic? So if I was to use the Oni or Bubba or Billy and hit them with the chainsaw, this perk doesn't activate. That's stupid. It really goes well with the slugging sort of insta-down build. Like, you smack someone with like Oni, you can leave them stuck for a second and apply pressure while you're using your power because the other survivors don't know where they are. And this line here is just a counter survive with friends. But it doesn't really, because yes, I get that you're on the floor and you're blind, you can't see where survivors are, so when you're communicating, you can't say go this way, but you can still point out where you are on the map, and experienced survivor friends know the map like the back of their hand. So if you say I'm by the shack, they're just going to come around and get you anyway. So the fact that it applies a blindness status effect while you're on the floor, in solo queue it's pointless, because obviously you're still relying on your teammates to pick you up anyway, but in survivor friends it's still pointless, because they can still get you. But I can see how it can be a hindrance. The crawling 50% slower is just pointless. It's 15 seconds. I mean, you're probably going to pick the survivor up straight away anyway. It doesn't help the slugging build. It's really, the fact that it's gone to basic has made it a massive nerf in my opinion. To be honest, that's not a great change. If it was just normal and it was this added to it, that'd be great. It's a little buff, but the fact that they've nerfed it to just basic attacks is kind of ridiculous. Right, Hillbilly. Keeping the theme of everything chainsaws, the Hillbilly is also receiving some changes in this update. For the most part, we're happy with the way Hillbilly performs. His power to be very versatile, allowing him to quickly traverse the map, zone out survivors and instantly down them. From a survivor's perspective, there is also a reasonable amount of counterplay leading to interesting chases where the best player often comes out on top. Yeah, so why are you changing him then? Given that we're already pretty happy with the way Hillbilly performs, the changes to his base kit are minimal. We're not removing any of the options you have with his chainsaw. traversal, feathering, curving, etc. Instead, we want to focus on the skill-based gameplay and put an emphasis on using the chainsaw effectively, only adding a small drawback to misusing your chainsaw. Just an FYI, doing these things effectively is extremely difficult. So them saying they want to focus on a skill-based gameplay is kind of ridiculous because he's already quite difficult to use. I know he's put down as an easy killer and he can just, a lot of people can get downs with him, but to be good against a good team, you need to be able to do all these three things really well, and it's difficult. I mean, I find it difficult. Maybe you other people don't, but okay, they want to add more skill base to him, which is okay. In 4.10, the Hill Billy Chainsaw will now feature a new overheat mechanic. Revving the chainsaw will now cause it to accumulate heat, which can be seen in both the lower left corner around the power icon and on the chainsaw itself. Sprinting with the chainsaw will also cause it to heat up at a much lower rate. The heat will dissipate over time whenever the chainsaw is not being used. If the overheat meter fills up completely, it can no longer be used until it's completely cooled down. When this happens, it will cool down at an increased rate. If the chainsaw overheats as you're sprinting, the sprint will not be interrupted. The goal behind this change is to add a small drawback to misusing the chainsaw and to add a bit more depth to the chainsaw with resource management. Okay. I know I said earlier where he's already skill based, but I feel like this adds a bit more skill to him, which is fine. As long as it's not too punishing on him, it's okay. Let's have a look. He's like screaming as he does it as well. Oh, it's barely going anywhere. Okay. Oh, it's going red too. Oh, look at that. How long does that last for? Oh, they don't show it. And he's got add-ons as well. So they're basically saying, as long as you sprint, always sprinting and get to people, you're fine. But if you're constantly, there's a lot of billies that like to rev back and forth and try and mind game you and try and get you at a curve. They're preventing that. They're like, you need to make the decision to curve at this time, which requires a bit more skill. And I think even if it doesn't cool down when you're not using it, you have to fully use it first, and then it cools down and then resets. So that's interesting. So there might be times where Billy's just running around just to overheat his chainsaw on purpose, so he has the bar reset. Okay. Add-on changes like the Cannibal. We're changing some add-ons. Let's have a look. Dad's boots. The pair of trusty boots pulled from the corpse of Max Thompson set. Model increases the chainsaw sprint steering. Okay. I don't know. I'm not a Billy main, so I don't know what these things done before. Pickhouse gloves. Moderately decreases the heat gained when starting to rev the chainsaw. Alright, so if you want to actually do that play where you're revving and trying to counter people, there's add-ons to help you increase that time. Look pro chains. Continue to chainsaw sprint after breaking a pallet. So I was hit with a chainsaw, damage for a single health state. What? Does this apply to when you break the pallet only? So if you catch someone when you've broken a pallet and you've run through and hit them, they only lose, it's only a basic attack? Or is that permanent? So no matter what? I feel, thing is though, if that's the case, then that's crap. Why would you run this? I mean, if it's for breaking pallets only, like you catch someone at a pallet and it's like, it counts it as a basic, that's fine. But if it's for the entire match, where his chainsaw is no longer instant down, for the exchange of being able to sprint through pallets, it's not worth it. Because the second survivors know you can do that, they're going to just not respect pallets and just keep running away, and you're just going to keep going flying through it, and they're just going to run past you. So this is pointless. I can see it being really fun, and like especially with breakable walls, like you're doing it, the shack on the new map or the cowboy map, whatever it's called, and he's just running straight through at you. It'd just be funny to see, but I can't see it being very useful, even for the best hillbilly users. Right, we've got some perk changes as well. Let's look at them. Lightborn. Unlike other beasts of fog, you've adapted to light. You're immune to blindness caused by flashlights and firecrackers. So those that attempt to blind you have their auras revealed for 6 to 8 to 10 seconds. Aren't you already immune, basically, at 85%? I mean, they'd use up all their battery before they blind you, currently. If someone's flashlight blinding you and you're immune to it, you could see them, so what's the point of having their aura revealed? I don't get it. Okay. Tinkerer, when a generator is repaired with 70%, isn't it like 85 or 90? Okay. It triggers a loud noise notification and you're granted untitled status for foot. That's really good, actually. That can stack with Dash Slinger's perk. I can't remember what it's called. The one that blocks off if you hit the obsession. So, because that only activates when the gen's almost done. So if you have Tinkerer and you've just hooked the obsession, if Tinkerer pops, you can get to that gen and instantly block it for like a minute, isn't it? That's really good. I can see some really good builds happening with Tinkerer now, especially because it's at 70 and it gives you enough time to get there, especially if you're a fast mobility killer. Okay, server improvements. I mean, sorry, let me go on about what I think about these changes. I think they're good. I think the Billies is obviously a massive nerf, especially for new players trying to learn him. I don't think it will bother experienced hillbillies. The Bubba's change is actually really, really good. It's going to stop face camping and it's going to encourage people to actually play him a bit more. And it's going to be a lot more skill sided because now he has charges he needs to think about instead of him just being a very straightforward killer that can press one button and do one thing. So yeah, no, these changes are really good. All right, server improvements. Thank God. Currently hits are handled on a killer's end. Yeah, if they appear to be within the range of a survivor, they'll be able to hit them. In most cases, this works well. The killer is able to reliably hit survivors, and the survivors see roughly the same thing on their end with a small amount of latency. If the killer has a weak connection to the server, however, it can cause some strange looking hits that appear to be out of range, most notably at pallets and windows. During this upcoming player test build, we'll be testing server-side hit validation. Anytime the killer hits a survivor, the server will check and see if it was possible within a reasonable margin. If the survivor was hit too far, it will be negated. To put it simply, if you have a stable connection, you won't notice any difference as killer. Your hits will still appear instantly and you should not be rejected. As a survivor, however, a killer with a weak connection should no longer be able to hit you from further away due to the high latency. If you saw my 69 subscriber special, there was this part where a Wraith hits the air and I vault a pallet miles away and I go down. It was quite funny, but yes, I think that proves the point that currently it being killers sided is great for killers, but I think the killer starts lagging out for whatever reason, it becomes extremely unfair for any survivor to deal with. So this is really, really great. Secondly, we will be increasing the tick rate of our servers to 30 Hz to 60 Hz. Basically, this means the server sends out more information to us frequently. Yes, that's great. Sounds good. We'll be monitoring these changes closely over the course of PTB before proceeding further. That's awesome. What's this? Promo code, last but not least, new promo code system will appear in the game. The system exactly sounds. You can redeem a promo code for in-game goodies on any platform. Start with the mid-game chapter, you'll notice to redeem the code button. Feature failure, clicking this button will bring up a menu where you can enter the promo code and unlock a reward. These rewards can be anything from clothing to blood points or even heroic sales. Okay, cool. I'm always fond of free goodies. Keep your eyes peeled for the system going out. You'll get some chances to get some codes real soon. This brings us to the end of the July 20 update. All the changes features will be available testing on Tuesday, July 7th. I will be uploading this today on the Monday. So tomorrow. I will not be doing this myself. I am not interested in either of these killers, to be honest. I'll just wait till it comes out. If I was a Billy main or Hillbilly main, obviously I'd be on this. I'm excited for the fact that both of them now cannot face camp, which is awesome. I just think that's such a stupid thing killers do, and it can't be done anymore. And a good team will always be able to counter them now because you will overheat your chainsaw before you successfully camp in someone's face, which is great. Yeah, it sounds like an awesome update. Some nice balance changes. I think the perks are changes are redundant. They sort of do the same thing with a few slight tweaks that aren't worth really mentioning, and people still won't be running these perks. So yeah, that's it for the developer update. Hope you guys learned something here. I will put a link in the bottom so you can have a read for yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.